Well, good morning, everyone. I think we're going to get going. It looks like we've got most people joined already. And as I just said, please keep your audio on mute if you're not speaking. So welcome to the 2021 New York Cleantech Landscape. We're very excited to have the first event of this kind in New York and happy to see partners and startups from across the state and beyond. We had about 75 people registered, so I think there'll be a few more joining. And of those, there are about 30 startups who are waiting to learn about opportunities and programs in the region, and 13 innovation partners to tell them how they can help them in their journey. So I'm Alistair, I'm the VP of Innovation and Partnerships at NECEC, the Northeast Clean Energy Council, and I'm going to MC the event today. So NECEC is a non-profit focused on growing the clean economy in the Northeast, making the region the best place to start, scale, and grow a clean tech startup. To do this, we advocate for favorable policy at state level. We convene the ecosystem at various events to help develop new markets. And we also run 2 programs to support entrepreneurs. One of them is the Cleantech Open, and you'll hear from Beth Sonis about that later. The other is Cleantech Navigate, which connects later stage startups who've done at least a pilot. And we connect them to investors, corporates or customers in a highly curated matching process. And we do this with a network of partners across the region, and a subset of those are presenting today. So thanks to those partners for being here. And then at NECEC, we're also dedicated to securing a just transition to a clean economy, one that corrects the disproportionate impacts of climate change and secures a better future for all. So I'm not sure I need to tell many of you why we're all working on clean tech solutions to fight climate change, but just in case, you remember the IPCC report, which was published 2 years ago, which stated we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 0 by 2050 to keep temperature rise to 1.5 degrees C. So we now see most of the states in the Northeast have set their own goals that align with that for 2050, including New York, and some even have intermediate goals for 2030. So even though we've got lots of cost-effective technology to deploy already, we still need innovation to bring down the costs and speed up the process. So this means there's plenty of opportunities for entrepreneurs to help, whether that be in deploying more renewable generation, reducing emissions in transportation or buildings, modernizing the grid to accept more dynamic supply and demand, reducing emissions in agriculture or in the water energy nexus, or even taking carbon out of the air. So the Northeast region has become a world-class hub of clean tech innovation, thanks to the wide range of universities working on the challenges here in the region, the availability of talent and of capital to invest in startups, and also the favorable state policies and programs and goals that incent and encourage innovation. It's an amazing ecosystem with all the ingredients necessary to support clean tech startups, and it's a model for other hubs across the country and around the world. Now, after our keynote speaker, who I'll introduce a bit later, we're going to hear from the organizations in New York State that support entrepreneurs, and also from startups that have graduated from their programs. So you hear it from them. Now, there's a lot of people on the call today. So again, I'm going to ask if you could keep your videos and audio off until you speak. You'll all get a chance to speak in the breakouts later on. But until then, let's focus on the speakers on the agenda. Now, when it comes to the breakouts, I hope you all have the latest version of Zoom. If you can go to the next slide, please, Mary Elizabeth. You should be able to see a breakout icon in your menu strip. And once our events team sets up the breakout rooms, which will be just before the breakout start, you'll see a list of 13 rooms to join. You hover over the room you want to visit and click join, and you'll be sent into that room. Now, each partner who presents today will be hosting a room, and you'll be able to visit more than one room in the breakout session, so you can jump around. So this is a big, complicated event. I just wanted to say thank you to the team that helped us plan it and organize it, our events partner, Fields Associates, and Katerina Madera from the Navigate team. So with that, I'm going to call on Alex from Acre to start the ball rolling. You with us, Alex?
Yes. Hello, Alistair. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone who's on the call here. As Katie said, it's really exciting to be doing this work in New York, and it's incredibly helpful to have the support of NYSERDA and the rest of the ecosystem here. So at as a representative of Urban Future Lab, I'm going to give a quick overview of what we do and how we integrate into the ecosystem and kind of support startups across our across the landscape. Next slide, please. So Urban Future Lab is kind of an umbrella for a lot of different programs, including the Acre Incubator that is supported by NYSERDA, as well as a Clean Start program, which is for job seekers looking to transition into the clean economy. And we also have industry-focused programs like the H2 Refuel Accelerator, the NYPA Innovation Challenge, and the Carbon to Value initiative that Katie just mentioned, all to support startups in specific industry verticals and really connect them to corporates who are going to help scale their development. So next slide, please. So what we do is we provide support to startups in a variety of ways through those programs, and those include providing direct support for kind of one-on-one mentorship, consultation, advisory services, a lot of introduction to key industry stakeholders and customers and investors, because what we really believe is that as Alistair and the NECEC are showing right now, the way to really grow this economy is through a powerful network of a variety of players that are able to support in a variety of different ways. So connecting startups to industries, helping them raise capital, providing legal office hour support, getting job training and internship placement. We also have an office space once that is going to be kind of safe again. So we're excited to build that community as well. Next slide, please. So as Katie mentioned, there's a variety of kind of stages of support, and this is kind of where we, as kind of our Acre Incubator program fits in the middle, is kind of right in that kind of after the initial kind of piloting has gone on and starting to commercialize. So the product is out there, but it really needs that extra boost to really get scaling. So this is where we find that the Acre Incubator can provide a lot of support. Next slide, please. And so this is what we're looking for startups who are joining our incubator. It's pretty selective. We look for the top of companies that are looking for support here in New York, but we're looking for a great team, an awesome market opportunity with a product that has differentiation, and obviously sustainability impact. So everything that we do is based on sustainability to meet the goals that Katie outlined. But startups can all apply at any time. But specifically right now, we're currently running our Urban Future Prize competition, which its deadline just got extended to May 17th. So if you have any interest in the Acre Incubator program, check out ufl.nyc. There's a chance to compete for $50,000 in cash prizes. So that's exciting. But next slide, please.
So Alex, I think we've gone a bit over time. So
okay, a bit over time. So this is. There it is. So I'm going to pass it over to Brian because our impact couldn't be done without our startups. So here is one of our startups, Brian Morin from Soteria.
Great. So thank you, Alex. And you and I talk every month, and thank you for all the support. My name is Brian Morin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Soteria Battery Innovation Group. We are a company. Go ahead and go to the next slide. There's two things to know about Soteria. So we have a technology that eliminates the root cause of lithium-ion battery fires. You can do almost any mechanical damage, and I'll have a picture in a second for you, that you want to them, and they won't self-ignite. So think drive your Tesla into a tree and walk away from a non-burning car, which is not the way it works today. The other thing to know about Soteria is that we are taking this to market with a Bluetooth-like FRAND licensing business model and supporting that with a consortium of companies. So the consortium now has just under 90 companies, and you can see some of the names, but it's NASA and Mercedes, DuPont, Saft, Motorola, Bosch, and a number of others, some very, very good battery companies. I saw recently a list of the top 10 high energy density battery companies, and I think we had 7 of them in the consortium. So clearly some of them are seeing our technology as a support for getting safety when you pack a lot of energy into a small package. And that's the other thing, with the technology is compatible with every chemistry, every anode, every cathode, every form factor, cylindrical, round, flat, and size of lithium-ion battery, and it reduces the weight and material cost. And so go ahead and jump to the next slide. So yeah, we were the winner last year of the Vision Prize, and that's how we joined Acre. And go ahead one more, and I'll talk about the way we've interacted with Acre. So I wanted to show this picture. This is kind of what you can do to a battery with our technology and have it not catch fire. And every one of these with a normal technology would have been a little pile of carbon. So quickly, some of the things the ways we've benefited from working with Acre, we've worked with the Entrepreneur in Residence program to get some help really defining our marketing message. They are helping us to redesign our website, giving a lot of input there. There's been several CEO lunches where I've been able to connect with other CEOs of similar stage startups, both for kind of how do you do this thing, right, that we're doing, as well as some kind of specific connections and introductions to potential customers and contacts. And then the other thing is a high level strategy advice and introductions for funding. So it's nice to be able to talk to somebody who is shepherding a lot of other startups through the same process and can kind of tell us where we fit, what we're doing that's missing, and what we're not doing that's missing, and what we're doing that we should highlight to give us kind of a context, as well as the direct introductions to funders. So it's been a very good experience for me. If any of the other startups are interested, please reach out to Alex. And if anybody is interested or working directly in the battery space and concerned with safety, please reach out to me. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I respond very quickly, and then I'll pass along the rest of the contact information that way. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Great story. Appreciate that. Let's hand it over to Jake from Antenna.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Jake Rosemarin. I'm SVP of Cleantech at Antenna Group. Antenna is an integrated marketing and PR firm focused on clean tech. We've been in the clean tech space for 25 years and have helped build some of the most prominent brands in the space, mostly B2B, but some B2C work as well. We have about 90 people on our team between New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, and growing super fast with all the momentum in the industry. So just mentioned here, we have four primary practices between clean tech, mobility, real estate, and health. We used to refer to these groups as practices, but now we refer to them as ecosystems to better represent the convergence within and between each group. So, for example, a building energy management company coming to us thinking that they're a clean tech company, but we can actually add more value when they're working with our real estate team, who represent their end customers. So that's a big part of our value prop, right? Connecting the dots, helping our clients who are usually highly technical to navigate and penetrate these complex markets and across market segments. So if you hop over to the next slide, you can take a look at some representative clients across different sectors. This is primarily around clean energy and some mobility here, but represented over 1,000 companies kind of across all of our ecosystems. If you hop over to the next slide, just in terms of what we do, right? So we are partnering with companies from across the supply chain, everyone from early and growth stage startups. Startups usually start with us around their Series A, and then all the way up to large global corporations and research institutions, and helping to develop their brands, refine their market positioning and their go-to market strategy. And then we lead the execution of these campaigns. And so our clients are looking to increase their awareness in the market. They're looking to generate interest from customers and investors and media, and get interest at events and things like that. Looking to build thought leadership campaigns to educate different types of stakeholders in the market. So a lot of different ways that we work with companies in the market. So the startup representative co-presenting with us today is Jessica Leader. Jess has worked with Antenna multiple times, first when she was with FreeWire Technologies in the EV charging infrastructure space, and then again when she was at Sunrun in the residential solar space. So now she's the Director of Communications at the Building Decarbonization Coalition, which I'm really excited for her to get everyone up to speed on what they're doing, because I think there's some really great partnership opportunities from folks on the line and her group. So yeah, with that, I'll hand over to Jess.
Thanks so much, Jake. Hi, my name is Jess Leader, as Jake mentioned, and I'm the Director of Communications at the Building Decarbonization Coalition. We at Building Decarb, we create safe and healthy, affordable communities through all electric clean energy homes and buildings. And what this really means is just that we are dedicated to ensuring the electrification of our energy space, of our building spaces. And I think that this is a very natural end game sort of for me in terms of how I've worked with Antenna in the past and where I've been before. It's interesting that I'm probably one of the only, one of the only partners here that's in my current role isn't necessarily a partner with Antenna yet, but we really plan to be. But I've just had this journey with them and brought them along the way because they have provided so much value, not just to me, but to the clean energy space in general. Next slide, please. So at Building Decarb, we are kind of an umbrella organization for all different types of members who are looking to help with the movement away from gas and towards electrification. We support policies, although we do not do lobbying. We educate consumers about electrification and why it's so important. And then we really create these collective action opportunities, which is probably one of our greatest assets to our members. And I think that that's really kind of the name of this game in general, is that the clean energy industry is a sum that's greater than its parts, as we can see through events like this, that we need all of these different sort of like really focused companies that bring expertise to the table and that they can share across the board. And so specifically for electrification, we coalesce this industry support for aggressive building decarbonization. We are a nonprofit, and in fact, I only joined BDC about 6 weeks ago, and I am one of 5 directors that joined about 6 weeks ago because we are growing rapidly. And we just hired, or we are just in the process of hiring, a New York director, which we're really, really excited about, because we recognize that New York is, California is often considered to be a leader in the clean energy space, which it is, but New York is quickly not just nipping at the heels, but really pulling ahead in some ways, because they just bring so much to the table and there's just so much forward-thinking action on the policy end. So yeah, we're really, really excited to have our New York director and to really see how we can help electrify buildings in this state. Next slide, please. So,
quick, Jess, please.
Yes. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Well, you're running a bit over time.
Oh, sorry. So just in terms of Antenna, I've actually known Jake for a really long time, but I started working with him professionally way back when I was working at FreeWire Technologies, which was a mobile energy storage company. And I insisted on bringing them with me, not only to FreeWire and then to Sunrun and then hopefully to BDC as well, because they are just so the jack of all trades and exactly the type of organization we need to help spread the message. They have the perfect combination of being able to speak to consumers, but also really knowing the industry and being able to translate the importance of what we're doing to the average person and to really recognize how they're going to benefit from clean energy in the long run. Yes, so thank you so much. I know that we are running late, but if anybody has any more questions about the Building Decarbonization Coalition or any of the other organizations I've worked with, or communications and clean energy, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much, Jess. Let's hand it over to Tim Hoffman.
Thank you, Alistair. I'd like to start by thanking the NECEC for putting this event together and inviting me to speak. Also, special thanks to NYSERDA, who's a fantastic supporter of the whole ecosystem and a funder of our program. For those who don't know me, I'm Tim Hoffman, Program Director of the NYSERDA EIR program, administered by Columbia Technology Ventures. Next slide, please. We provide mentoring and executive team building services to promising climate tech companies active in the state of New York. In addition to standard projects, our 90 plus experienced EIRs provide pitch coaching and grant writing services, as well as lead skills labs on topics which could benefit the entire ecosystem. In December last year, we launched the Climate Leadership Network, a Slack community for the New York State climate tech ecosystem, and now has 300 members and is growing every week. So if you haven't already joined, I'd encourage you to reach out and join that network. And finally, as a substitute for NYSERDA's Green Innovation Showcase, in April of this year, we hosted our first Startup Investor Showcase, in which we facilitated 333 meetings between 45 investor-ready startups and 50 investor groups. Next slide, please. Since 2019, we've helped over 200 climate tech startups. Companies receiving EIR services have raised more than $110 million in private investment, non-NYSERDA grants, and prizes from competitions. Many startups have also initiated demos and pilots, entered into sales and strategic partnering agreements, and have gotten into incubators and accelerators as a result of working with our EIRs. Finally, we've facilitated 7 CXOs joining companies so far. For more information about the NYSERDA EIR program, please visit climatestartupsupport.com. That's climatestartupsupport.com. I'll put it in the chat after I'm done here. And with that, I'd like to pass it along to Rachel Rosen, founder and CEO of WexEnergy, one of the client companies that we serve through the program. Rachel, take it away.
Thank you. I'm Rachel Rosen, CEO of WexEnergy. If you go to the next slide, please. WexEnergy is addressing the building envelope by improving insulation. And our first product to market is called Window Skin. It's a snap-on window insulation panel that retains window operability. That means you can open and close your windows just as you always have. And it's a huge differentiator. We are the only interior insert that allows windows to open and close. Our paybacks can be up to 10 times faster than a new Energy Star window, and the cost is at about 15% of new windows. We are really focused on the B2B market right now. We're in early sales as COVID really shut down our ability to get into tenant spaces over the last year. That's now changing. And we are in a round looking to raise $2 million. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So Tim asked me if I would talk a little bit about how the EIR program has benefited WexEnergy. And I have to tell you, he chased me down at one of the in-person investor showcases. I think it was in 2019, told me about the program and said, you really need to take advantage of it. And I can only tell you now, my regret is that I didn't take him up on the opportunity right at that moment. It took me about 8 months before we really dove in. But once we got into the program, we haven't stopped asking for help. It's an incredible array of advisors and mentors with very specific skills, and you can really, pick and choose what you need. So we have been working with the EIRs who are really helping us in terms of manufacturing, presentation, pitching, marketing, human resource structure, and even grant writing. The grant writing, I think, may be the newest addition to their team. And honestly, we've submitted a number of grants that we could not have had the bandwidth for without their help. So next slide, please. I would say that the most important thing that one can get, from this program is to ask for help, sit down and talk to Tim or Johan or any of the other advisors in terms of scoping out your needs. Ask for help, ask for it again, keep asking. They don't say no easily. They really want to help. And this is invaluable expertise that we would have to spend a lot of money on to get otherwise, as really moving the dial for our company. I encourage you all to do that. If you're a commercial building owner and looking for window improvement without the high cost of replacements, please give us a call. I will put my email into the chat, and you can also find us online at wexenergy.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Good to see you again. And let's hand it over to Nyla from the Clean Fight.
Hi, so I'm Nyla Mabro. I'm head of strategy and marketing at the Clean Fight, and we are at a slightly different stage to some of the other accelerators in this program, and we're sort of the next step in the ecosystem. So we really focus on growth stage startups and helping them to go from demonstration to deployment. So if you go to the next slide. Our focus is really on how can we find the highest impact innovations that are really ready and are in a position to be scaled. So you have to have kind of already proven your efficacy and your impact, that you have a meaningful customer adoption. So you have a diversified customer set and that the market has shown that there's demand for your product, but you're now in a position to really be able to scale, and you need that kind of help scaling. So our focus is around companies which they may already be in the New York market and want to scale further, companies that may be in the US but don't have a footprint in New York yet, and international companies who want help kind of establishing themselves in New York for the first time. And the way we kind of think about it is that we're looking for things which are more than clean. So yes, we want innovations that are going to meet the world's kind of future energy needs, but do that in a better way. So clean plus, thinking about what are the economic benefits, what are the health benefits, lifestyle benefits, etc. How are you impacting the broader community? And we select against this set of criteria here, and obviously the GHG impact, but the strength of offering. Do you have demand? What's the potential for job creation in the state? Your equity and impact, and then how experienced is the team, and how can we help you? So obviously we want to be able to help you. Our first cohort was on decarbonizing New York's Class A buildings. Our second cohort, the applications are going to open in mid-June, and that's really focused on decarbonizing New York's mass market buildings, so the kind of Class B and C. We not only focused on buildings, they just happened to be the first two cohorts, but we each year we decide what the focus should be for our cohort. On the next slide. So just some of the kind of program highlights. As this is a very, very tailored program, we know that companies who are kind of at this growth stage have very unique needs. So we spend a lot of time understanding what your top needs are and then structuring the program around that. So making sure you have the right support to help focus on that one or two kind of key needs that you have, help you to understand the New York market and navigate within it. Customer development is a huge piece of the program. So we have, as you can see on the right, a really strong set of both customer partners and investor partners, but we're really focusing on how can we get you to business agreements more quickly than if you kind of came into New York by yourself. And then we also have non-dilutive grants up to 1.25 million per cohort that can be put against pilots, financing, etc. Next slide.
So you're using your startup's time, Nyla, if you want to.
I'm not going to read our mission statement, but we have an amazing mission statement, which you should go to our website. I'll pass over to Mike.
All right, thanks, Nyla. So just very quickly, I'm Mike, Director of Strategy and Corporate Development at Peak. If you go to the next slide, basically we're a Toronto-based clean energy software company. And really what we're about is using machine learning to transform buildings into dynamic energy resources, basically through grid interactive buildings, batteries, and of course, bidirectional electric cars through vehicle to building. We have some demonstrations in Toronto on that, and are of course looking to expand our presence in New York. Ultimately, what we do is help building owners save their costs, improve indoor air quality, generate revenue from the grid, and reduce their carbon footprints. We're really looking for, so we have projects in Ontario, New York, and California. And really what we were looking to do with the Clean Fight was to help meet our next milestone of really growing our US sales. If you go to the next slide, we give a bit of history about that. So Funny enough, CleanFight actually came up in one of our business development conversations in New York, and one of the partners said, you should check this program out. It's wonderful. We had a look at it, and quite frankly, we were very impressed by not only the suite of partners, but also the backing from NYSERDA, and also just the overall approach and the type of tactics the CleanFight was using to really help bring scale ups into New York. And really, they've been like Nyla and the team have done a fantastic job of really building our network in New York, growing our brand presence there. And then also there are actually a few other programs that we were referred to through the CleanFight that have all helped really navigate New York's startup support ecosystem. And so it's been wonderful, and looking forward to continue to talk to them as part of the alumni community. And if you go to the next slide, I think that should be it. Yeah, so this is our founding team, or this is our leadership team. And really, one thing from this program that was really important is that, yes, leverage the program, but then the team, like Nyla, Thatcher, Grace, and the entire team have a tremendous depth of expertise, as well as the partners and other participants. It was really not only great from a customer development perspective, but also just for our knowledge in terms of validating our product market fit to the specifics of New York City and otherwise. So overall, fantastic program. And yeah, get in touch if you want to transform your building into a great interactive energy resource.
Thank you very much, Mike. And now I'm handing over to Beth. And just before you go, Beth, just want to remind all the speakers to try and keep to the timing that we assigned to you, the 2 minutes for the partners and 3 minutes for the startups. Thank you.
Sure thing, I'll do my best. So I'm Beth Zonis. I'm the director of Cleantech Open in the Northeast, and we do cover more than New York, but we are run in the Northeast by NECEC, which is what Alistair told you a little bit about. So I'll skip over that quickly. If you can turn to the next slide, please. So here's the core story about what Cleantech Open is. It's like a mini MBA, and we are designed to work with early stage startups that do not yet have a customer. So you've heard from a couple of people here about Cleantech Open has been mentioned a few times. I did want to mention that there are 3 speakers here, including the one who's mentioning Cleantech Open and speaking on behalf of Cleantech Open, who are alumni. Storen and Heat Inverse are also Cleantech Open alumni. But the idea is that we are really trying to give all of the startups that come through our program a chance to become entrepreneurs. And we do that through training, which includes our National Academy at the beginning, which is a multi-day event, as well as many events throughout the program, lots of coaching and an online curriculum. But probably the best part of the whole thing is the mentoring. So we spend a lot of time matching mentors with startups, and each mentor gets a chance to follow through on follow the whole curriculum and work as part of a team with each startup. And many of our mentors will continue to work with those startups after the program has concluded. It's about a 6-month program. We are just now evaluating startups and reviewing them for the 2021 cohort, and we will get underway in early June. Access to capital refers to our investor connect that we have at the end of the program, but we also have many types of investors who are embedded as mentors, judges, speakers, coaches, etc. And of course, all of our startups get a chance to showcase, and they all get to compete for cash prizes. So we offer at the regional level this year, we have $50,000 in cash, plus over $300,000 worth of products and services. Next slide, please. And then, of course, there are opportunities at the national level for additional cash prizes too. I really want to get a chance to focus on a few of our statistics. So you can see the one that I'm most proud of is the 68%. 68% of the startups that have graduated from Cleantech Open since 2005 are still in business. This is a phenomenal feat when you consider that they are all really early stage. We know that they've created at least 3,000 jobs, 3,300 jobs, and our cohorts are becoming increasingly diverse, with 63% of our startups last year having a person of color as a founder. Next slide, please. So
And you're way over time, Beth. So
okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to say, by the way, I didn't realize this ahead of time, but Romy's speaking shortly. She's right here in the front. This is a real picture of our ecosystem, and I want to interact with everybody and get a chance to all work together. So thank you, and over to Eric of CLIP.
Hi Beth. Thanks very much for the opportunity to talk, and I will definitely complement what you just said about CTO, but also the New York SERDA ecosystem. I mean, I'm the CFO of Clip.bike, not wearing my hat today, fortunately for you. And I wanted to maybe a quick intro on what we're doing. We're a cleantech transportation company based in Brooklyn. And we're launching this summer, in fact, the first deliveries of electric device that you can adjust, adapt to any regular bike to transform it instantly into an electric bike. So you just clamp it on the front fork and you're ready to go. It's affordable, it's nicely designed. If you want to go to the next slide, maybe, it's nicely designed. It's an all-in-one portable, around 7 pounds. So we're excited to launch it, and the first delivery should be happening in the summer. I wanted to definitely recognize all the NYSERDA ecosystem as well, because of course last year we were in the 2020 cohort of Cleantech Open, but we have also worked with Tim Hoffman's team on the EIR program. We also connected with Launch New York. And we are now in 2021 also part of the Scale for Climate Tech. So I would just share as a quick comment, I know we don't have much time, that this ecosystem that NYSERDA is putting together is amazing. And as a company, as a startup, the company was started in 2018, and now we're already pre-launch with taking pre-orders, and we're launching manufacturing with the first deliveries this summer. Over the last 3 years, it has been an amazing experience to share our vision, experience, but you know, you have a strategy, you have a product, but the execution is really the toughest part. And the Cleantech Open, to specifically focus on that, has been, as you said, Beth, amazing in terms of mentoring, in terms of coaching, in terms of helping us identify the value proposition. And here you see we're making e-bike technology more affordable and more accessible, something we validated with customer interviews, looking at the impact and sustainability statement, looking at the business case, and also a bit of competition at the end in the prizes. We went to the national, to the Northeast final, and we had a chance also to go to the national final, which was, of course, a great recognition. If you want to go to the next stage, next slide, a great recognition and endorsement. All this helped us close our Series Seed round a few weeks ago. So now we're ready to go into the manufacturing and into the trenches of customer experience. So I would say, because we don't have much time, my time is over already. And Alistair, thanks again for organizing that. And we know everybody, many people in the ecosystem, and I would encourage everyone who is willing to talk to us to reach out to us at any time. My email is eric@clip.bike. And if you go to the next slide, you're going to see the team. Sam is the CEO, and Sam is the CEO, and Clem is the CEO, and the three of us are in this journey together as partners. Thank you so much for your time and the opportunity.
Thank you, Eric. Good to see you making progress.
Thank you.
And I'd like to ask Marnie to, is it Marnie next? No, Heidi, beg your pardon. Heidi from CBIP.
Hello, thanks, Alistair. I'm Heidi Anderson with CBIP. We're the Clean Energy Business Incubator Program located at Stony Brook University, and we are one of the 6 NYSERDA funded incubators. So We've been pushing startups forward for over 10 years. You can see some of these stats. Quite frankly, some of these stats have been blown out of the water just in the last few weeks by some of our startups that are starting to scale in the marketplace. So that's fantastic. We look for tough tech and help you get it to scale. And so we tend to have companies that are a little earlier in their stage, have a very long road to go. We have a group of advisors, over 25 advisors currently, that make it their mission, it's their duty and their honor to be an extension of every startup's advisory board. That's their main function with CBIP. And then you have access to all the Stony Brook University resources, and several of our companies have made use of interns and labs and researchers there. You've heard about EIR, can't say enough about the EIR program. So we work with a lot of partners, EIR program, Scale for Climate Tech, who you'll hear from soon. A lot of our partners in this ecosystem. And I think the other main thing is that we are not cohort based. We are kind of rolling through, so you can apply at any time. And so with that, we actually highly curate, our engagement, whether it's one-on-one, whether you're going to have a deep dive session with our advisors or the workshops. It's always curated to the moment and trajectory of each company and our portfolio as a whole. Next slide, please. So, like I mentioned, we have applications rolling. Along the bottom banner, you'll see our portfolio, including 2 recent grads. We expected several more of those to be graduating over the next year, so we've been doing a bit of a push. We don't take equity. What we do look for is what kind of the common theme you've heard, right? The team is absolutely number one, that you've got the team assembled and the right attitude and the right focus to get things done, and that there is a promising tech and business model. Your business model is going to change. It's going to change multiple times as we help you figure things out, but there's got to be a there. And for CBIP, it does go with our name, right? We tend to be focused on energy. Those are most often hardware with very long commercialization paths from a technical and a business standpoint. So we really do prefer that. And then also to meet our goals that we are, want to meet and are required to meet to be in line with our whole ecosystem and funders. So you see the code there if you're interested to apply, and also we'll be in the breakout rooms. And with that, thank you very much. And I will hand it over to Storin, Carlo Bravero with Storin.
Hello, good morning. Carlo Bravero, I'm the CEO of Storin, and I'm happy to be here to give you this presentation. Next slide, please. We design and manufacture vanadium flow batteries. The vanadium flow battery technology is technology that has been around for some time and is proven and demonstrated. However, we manufacture our batteries with our own proprietary recipe, our patents. The idea is to produce efficient energy storage that is long lasting, so going to fill those applications that are not technically viable for lithium and require energy storage longer than 2 hours. Our technology decouples energy and power, and we have an electrolyte that never dies. So it's possible to imagine some very innovative marketing propositions like selling the battery and leasing the electrolyte. We are also very active abroad, particularly in Australia, and we are exploring with our Australian partner a model that we want to duplicate also in other geographies, which is selling the stack of the battery and license the battery design. And by keeping the manufacturing of the stack centralized, we can guarantee quality and low cost, and we don't ask our partners to duplicate investments. We are a stage A company, and our next milestone is a process that we are running at the moment, which is transitioning to batteries that are made manually to volume manufacturing. Next slide, please. We joined CBIP after visiting several incubators on the East Coast, and at the end, we chose CBIP because of the Advanced Energy Center at Stony Brook University, and also because of the close relationship with Brookhaven. They helped us with the initial handholding and to get established in the clean tech ecosystem in the US. For example, in 2017, we were finalists at the Clean Tech Open Northeast, and that was part of the suggestions that we received from CBIP. They were also very useful to us in developing our presentation skills and our investors deck. Certainly, they have helped us to save a lot of time and to focus on our business. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Carlo. Good to see you making progress.
Yeah, thanks.
And next, I'd like to call on Ken Rother from the new Climate Tech Prototype Accelerator.
Good morning, everybody, and lots of familiar faces. So this should read assess, not access, the market desirability, technical feasibility, and financial viability of a new product. So this is an early stage program modeled after a napkin to prototype program we've been running for the last 6 years. This program is funded by NYSERDA, and it's really in support of the CLCPA goals, and it's for the most earliest of stage of innovators. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll just give you a quick rundown of the program. Here's what it looks like. As I said, it's modeled after our traditional program, if you will, which we still run. It's split into 5 phases where we do some skill building. We take the entrepreneur through a series of steps to assess the feasibility of their idea. How might they solve the problem? Create a proof of concept that shows they can solve the problem. Create the benefit the customer is looking for, build an integrated prototype, and then we finally have a demo day event. Teams that are in this program are eligible for up to 10K for prototyping needs, for services, for pieces and parts and so forth. They propose projects and those get funded. They get access to our shop and a fair amount of technical and business mentoring. Assistant Director Steve Supron does a lot of the technical mentoring. We have some other folks, and we have our EIR pool at Rev. So this is really focused, if there's anyone in the call interested, please reach out. I'll put something in the chat right away. And then to the other folks running incubators, we're just finishing rounding up this year's cohort. We're going to be running it at least 2 more years in the next summer. So keep it in mind. We'll reach out if you have anybody who might be a good candidate. Early stage, don't need to be a company yet, anything like that. It's to really look at an idea. We call this a teach to fish, not fish for you program. So hopefully you come out of this with hardware entrepreneurial skills. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Ken. And now over to Marnie Levine from Launch New York and the Eco Incubator.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Alistair. Thanks for having me here today, and great to see a lot of colleagues, but a lot of new faces and many of our client companies. So next slide, Eco Incubator is actually part of a larger organization, Launch New York. And Launch New York is a venture development organization. We are a private nonprofit that serves startups with mentorship and seed funding. We operate the most active seed fund in New York State, funding 2 to 4 companies every single month. So just to help folks on the phone trying to categorize all these great presentations, we focus on seed stage, occasionally a little later to Series A and occasionally a little earlier. We are virtual. And we do have rolling admissions, so we're not cohort based. So we've worked with almost 1,200 companies. And in the clean tech space, that has become one of our signature programs now. And about 20% of our investment portfolio represents the clean tech sector. So if we could go to the next slide. Great. So what we do for our companies is actually provide them access to a family of what we call invest local programs. So I won't go into the details here, but suffice it to say that we're typically working on, up to a $1 million raise with a company, and we will often be the first money in, and we will typically lead. And once a company is moving to Series A, the good news is we've helped you build a ton of relationships, and the company that will be speaking with you today, HELIXintel, can actually talk to you about that process. Similarly, Renewable in the clean tech space has taken advantage of it as well. Next slide. So really excited that the clean tech incubator itself, ECO as we call it, has had some really tremendous wins and some companies that have raised significant dollars and even exited fully with and acquisition. So these companies have raised over $125 million, and that's only 30 companies. Significant employment. The company acquired, actually as part of one of our company highlights. I will just note this, the map that you see there denotes the area where we focus on companies being located. You may have multiple locations, but we definitely need you located in that area. Next slide. And so in terms of the highlights, the company that was actually acquired, TROVE, was a little more advanced coming into us, but through our mentorship work with them and also use of the NEIR program, they were actually able to meet resources that ultimately moved them into an investment banking relationship. And they were acquired about a year ago, and they actually are continuing to grow their business right here in Western New York, essentially a demand response informatics company that really is turning out to be the lead in the data science area for this Colorado-based acquirer. So really powerful. I see Attribute Science. Claudia is on with us today in the wind turbine area. So congratulations on all you've been accomplishing here. And even unexpected, like sustainable French fries. Yes, Farther Farms. So if you want to know more, let us know. So with that, next slide, please. In the breakout session, Danielle Blount from our team will be there, and I will always welcome you to contact us. And next slide is really our handoff to what it's all about. John DeWald is a phenomenal lead for HELIXintel, who's taken advantage of the resources that Emerging Clean Tech Opportunity Incubator provides. And John's got a great story about maintenance made simple. Take it away, John.
Thanks, Marnie. Much appreciated. And again, nice to meet everybody. So at HELIXintel, what we are doing is we're simplifying maintenance for small businesses, and we do it for free. So what does that mean? Imagine you're a restaurant, having your stove go down the night before the busiest day of the year, or a manufacturer scrapping a piece of production equipment 10 years before they're supposed to. Most small businesses have stories just like this. And that's because they have something in common, right? They are not doing the right maintenance on their equipment. And so HELIXintel, we are here to help. We give them, again, that free platform, simple to use maintenance management platform that does three things. First, it lets them load and track unlimited pieces of equipment and unlimited locations. Second, we match that equipment with optimized maintenance plans. And then third, we connect them with manufacturer authorized service providers to purchase the right parts and services. So businesses from restaurants to ice rinks to manufacturers, they're all loving the product that we built. It's no wonder. Who else loves us are those manufacturer authorized service providers. We bring them new high margin maintenance business because over 70% of the equipment that they sell is generally getting serviced from somebody else. And we bring that business back to them. That's why we have some of the biggest names in the industry on our platform, like Siemens, Ingersoll Rand, and Rexel. Our business model is that we take a commission on every transaction that occurs, and we've been growing substantially over the past few months as we take on the $176 billion US maintenance industry. As Marnie said, we received tremendous support from Launch New York and all the folks from Marnie to Danielle and Matt, Paul Tino, Paul Buckley, have been wonderful to help us think through our business early on. And as we have grown, as well as the folks at Columbia, John and Tim, Rob Parker, Cindy, and Gary Anderson, all the resources that Columbia, NYSERDA, Launch New York have brought to us have helped us not only think through our business early on, but as we grow. And so what does that mean for us as a company? Well, early on, we were raising $500,000, and we wound up closing a pre-seed round of 1.6 million, and we're staged properly now to grow into our next round. Earlier on, Katie talked about different areas that NYSERDA is looking to focus. And so another resource that clearly everyone seems to benefit from here is mentorships and access to other people within this ecosystem helping one another. And so what does that mean for us? Katie talked about the insurance industry. And a few months back, we had one of the largest equipment insurers on the planet reach out to us. And we talked through our business model and how we can help them. And over the past 3 months, we've been in diligence. We've done pilot projects. And exciting to say yesterday, we cleared the hurdles and see a path forward to commercialization. Why is that important to us? Obviously, as a business, it's a tremendous opportunity for us to touch a lot of customers. But more importantly, when you think about the ecosystem that everyone has built here, we're able to reach out to every one of those people, talk about what we're experts are in maintenance side, but then how to communicate, how to properly engage with insurers and other companies, utilities, who we know can benefit from our product. And in doing so, we've positioned ourselves in a great upward trajectory. So again, thank you to all of the resources that everyone has brought here, and look forward to continuing on with everyone.
Thank you, John. And with that, I'll ask Ashley to take over from IncubatorWorks.
Thank you so much. I am Ashley Madison, the Program Director of IncubatorWorks, and we have two incubators, one in Corning, New York, and one in Alfred, New York. So one sits in the Southern Tier region and one sits in the Western New York region. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we are a nonprofit incubator, and like I said, we serve the Southern Tier of New York. We've been in existence for 30+ years, almost as long as I've been alive, and we are serving both physical and virtual clients. So we have a virtual client base, and then those that rent space and access our services. Currently, we focus on MWBEs, veterans, and the underserved communities. Our partnerships include the STSA, the Southern Tier Startup Alliance, and the 76 West Business Competition, Cleantech, the Western New York Incubator Network, led by UB, the EPRI Incubate Energy member, and then NYSERDA Cleantech Incubators in Binghamton and Buffalo. Also, Alfred University CAT, which is inside the Alfred Incubator, and the UB Center for Materials Informatics. Next slide, please. Thank you. So why IncubatorWorks? Our clean tech activities have included mentoring and judging in the 76 West competition, helping companies looking to relocate to the Southern Tier, such as wind turbine fabrication, solar, and truck aerodynamics. Clients, rare earth recycling, efficient air sterilization, small scale combined heat and power are some of the high-tech clients that we are serving. And our star client is Makatu with power distribution management. They just raised 20 million and employ over 50 locally. So they were in our Corning incubator. They started in their garage. They went through the program, graduated, and stayed right here in the Southern Tier. Next slide, please. Thank you. We have a small but mighty team. Nancy Kirby is our director. Alan Ray is our co-director. I'm the program director. We have Greg Softly as our operations manager, and Barry Hemley and MK Kellogg. So if you have any questions, come talk to us to explore the terrific manufacturing and other resources in the Southern Tier. Thank you. And next, I would like to introduce Sam Burlingame with Xylon Technical Ceramics. Thank you.
Hi, this is Alan Ray. I'm with IncubatorWorks, but I also consult with Xylon. Sam was going to be joining me in the breakout room later on. So you can see a picture of Nick and Sam Burlingame in the picture. Sam's in the red shirt, and they are serial entrepreneurs. There have been several Xylon companies, and they're now looking for another deep tech company to start. Next slide. So it's all about recovery of rare earths. Rare earths are the chemicals that you never learned about in school, but they're essential for the production of efficient jet engines, electric vehicle batteries and motors. And wind turbines have several hundred kilos of rare earths up there. And they're in short supply, largely supplied from China. So the issue is how to get a domestic supply that's stable. Xylon's business model is business to business with OEMs, contract manufacturers, and recyclers. And Xylon also uses a contract manufacturer for scale up of the process, which means that you don't have to get involved in investment in capital equipment. The company's early revenue, and the challenge is the same as all recycling businesses, getting stable supplies on the front end and consistent pricing on the back end. Next slide. So why IncubatorWorks? Well, materials businesses take a long time to develop, and there have been several Xylon companies with products from hip joints to molds for beer cans. So basically, they were already in the incubator with a related business. The incubator is right next to Alfred University, which is a major center for ceramics industry, and IncubatorWorks obviously has access to a lot of other resources. And IncubatorWorks has been involved in business model development, accounting, and grant writing. And Xylon's been very successful with Defense Logistics Agency SBIRs, for instance. Next slide. So I think the message is with all of these incubators, you can see that there are enthusiastic people with great skills and great contacts. And you know, use them as a startup, because they're there to help you, and they're just delighted to help you at any opportunity. So come and see us in the breakout room. Sam and I will be there once the presentations stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Now I'm going to hand over to Stacey from Scale for Cleantech.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Katie, thank you for the great opening remarks. I'm Stacey from Second Muse. We run Scale for Climate Tech. Hopefully I'm rounding out this series, so I won't go too deep into this. I'm going to really make sure that we're highlighting our entrepreneur, Romy, who at 11:30 is closing a funding round. So everyone snaps for that. Next slide. So our mission statement for Climate Tech is really an umbrella brand that has two programs underneath it: Scale for Climate Tech, which I'm representing today, and our Venture for Climate Tech program. We are all about connecting climate actors. So most of you on this call are partners in some way. There's plenty of founders, Eric from Clip, Romy, we talked about Tania. So excited to have all of you here. And really the Scale for Climate Tech program is a way to get your product to market through the manufacturing process so that we can hit all of those goals by 2030 and 2050. Next slide. So as mentioned, right, New York State has some of the most aggressive energy and climate goals in the country. So really the Scale for Climate Tech program under this For Climate Tech umbrella is about exactly that. It's about getting your product to the market to make sure that it can actually go fight climate change. So that is really our main focus, is let's get over the valley of death. Let's get over the hump. Let's do it through building manufacturing processes and getting your product, as we call, out into the wild. Next slide. So, you know, this is my favorite slide because it really does just go over where all the resources are in New York. Most of these people here on the call. So you'll see the Scale for Climate Tech and Venture for Climate Tech program are really just two of many places where you can get access to resources, to people, to education, to really help get your product to market. Scale for Climate Tech is really a later stage program, really in that commercialization phase, as Katie had mentioned before. Next slide. So this is our team. We're happy to chat at any point. I run the program along with Shelby Thompson. We will be starting applications for cohort 4 come July. So I would love to chat with any and all of you that are interested in this program. If you have a clean tech product that is a hardware product that you are looking to get to market, you are looking to get it over that hump, over that valley of death, and you need to go from 10 to 100 or 100 to 1,000 of that product, please email me. I'll drop my email in the chat. With that, I'll kind of just stop because this is really the last slide before I'll turn it over to Romy, because I know we are short on time.
Thanks, Stacey. Good to see you. Yeah, so I'm Romy Fain. I'm the CEO of Heat Inverse, and as I think many of the other companies on this call, we have taken advantage and benefited from a lot of these programs that people are talking about today. So if you're a startup in this ecosystem, it's a really awesome place to be. I moved here from San Francisco, where of course there's a lot of startup resources, but you know, everyone in San Francisco is vying for those. Everyone has a startup in San Francisco and is vying for those same resources. And you know, when we got started, it was growing, this ecosystem, and it's really it's continuing to grow even faster since we've gotten a couple of programs under our belt in this system. Anyway, so what we do, first of all, our mission is to revolutionize. Oh, go back. our mission, I love our mission, so I'm going to share our mission with you. We make these thin films that get cold without any additional energy input. Looks like this. We've scaled up recently to high throughput manufacturing and large sheets that we can use these films on refrigerated trailers, which is our beachhead market, but also for lots of other applications in power generation, storage, transmission, transportation, electric vehicle, roofing systems, buildings, cool roofs, but better windows, lots of applications. But our mission is to revolutionize cooling technologies and profitably reduce greenhouse gas emissions by at least 1 gigaton at full deployment. Okay, now you can forward. Thank you. So yeah, we make thin films, like I said, and the main purpose of these materials for our beachhead market is to reduce their fuel costs, and more these companies that own large refrigerated trucking fleets are actually paying attention to CO2. Initially, it was less a part of what they were thinking about, and now it's becoming more and more top of mind, especially with the new administration. A lot more money going into reducing CO2 emissions, which diesel emissions is a big impact on that. But it also increases the value of the assets, because what we're doing, not only saving people money, millions of dollars per company, but also we can increase the asset value of their company, or we can increase the assets of the value of their assets by reducing the load on those assets. So obviously it's a B2B type of business model. Right now we are focused on pilots. So thanks to many programs, and including MCOR, or at least what used to be called MCOR, we have films now that we can pilot with companies. We're working on pilots right now with Wegmans and possibly GNC Foods and Cornell Dairy before the end of the summer here locally. But then we also have international pilots lined up in Mexico and South America starting in the fall. So yeah, that's our main focus right now, completing paid pilots through the end of the year and getting to small volume sales by Q1 of next year. You forward. So yeah, how we met. This was back in the days when we could actually meet people in person. So I actually went to Brooklyn and met with the team there, and I was really impressed with them from the very start. I have to say, I didn't know at the time, but they really became, they felt like external team members. And I know for a lot of you startups out there, it can be kind of a difficult and sort of lonely process, because you're in your own bubble trying to make something happen that maybe not everybody sees and believes in. So that was huge, and that's only part of what they helped us with. Many connections to the ecosystem, but also we were struggling with our scale-up process because we had a number of pilot lines and resources to do that scale-up that fell through, and really didn't have. We thought it would be really easy because they're simple to manufacture, but getting these large-scale, high-throughput manufacturers to take a chance on a smaller company, and maybe do a small run that's not going to make them money up front. It's a more nuanced conversation, and so we got some connections through MCOR that actually helped us. Well, we hired a manufacturing consultant through it that we met through the program, and and they had 40 years experience in this industry, and it's really has been one of many areas where it's really helped us get over the hump to where we are now. So
great, thanks, Remy. I think that's all we've got time for, unless you have a final message.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Good to see you making progress. And now I'd like to hand over to Ben from Mints.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for all these fantastic presentations. Very inspiring to hear about all the great work everyone is doing in the clean energy space. My name is Ben Stone. I'm a corporate lawyer at Mints, which is a large corporate law firm with 8 offices across the US and the United Kingdom. The cool thing about Mints is that while we are a large law firm, we work very closely with small and growing startups, in particular in the clean tech and clean energy space. We have one of the most preeminent practices in clean tech and clean energy in the United States. And so we have deep policy knowledge, deep business knowledge, and of course, deep legal knowledge in this space. We work with a variety of different incubators and startups and accelerators, and we have a deep passion for helping entrepreneurs build and scale great companies. In particular, we have a program called Mints Edge, where for a company that has not yet formed or has formed but not done a whole lot more in terms of building infrastructure for their company, we at a set fixed price can help you get your company off the ground, allocate shares, implement a equity plan, provide form documents for offer letters, consulting letters, et cetera, and some free consultations with regard to IP and other matters, and plus just some brainstorming sessions with our attorneys. And I know I believe I'm doing a breakout session later today or shortly. So if you want to talk about the clean energy space and the overlay of legal issues, or just to find out more practically speaking what Mints does, I will be there and welcome a conversation with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and thanks for the support of Mints for our programs. Appreciate it. And with that, I would like to hand over to Mike Jagelski from the Binghamton Incubator.
Thank you, Alistair. It just took me a minute to get organized. So one of the things I'd like to do is talk about the Kaufman. So the Kaufman is the physical building where the SCI is really the Southern Tier Clean Energy Incubator. Our facility is relatively young, right? We built the facility in 2017. It's a state-of-the-art facility. Lots of labs, lots of offices, co-working areas, meeting rooms, all that other great stuff. Right now, we're at 36 clean energy companies, and non-clean energy, another 15 or 20. So you have 55, 60 companies. Our incubator is pretty much full, but we always graduate companies. So we've always got this great stable of companies coming in and out. 15 come from out of state, 6 are international. So we've also earned the International Soft Landings designation to help international companies gain a foothold in the States. One of the most telling things is when you talk about 76 West, the 76 West program, started 4 to 5 years ago. 17 of the finalists, of the actual winners, right, joined our incubator. I think that says a lot about what it is we do. And I'm proud to announce, as of just a week ago, we're up to $117 million in funding for the company since 2017. A big portion of that is we closed C4V Imperium. That was an $85 million Australian raise, so it's basically 75 million US. And they're going to be building a gigafactory in Vestal. So we start to talk about electric vehicles and batteries and lithium ion and all that great stuff. That's here. That's in Binghamton. And one of the big benefits about being in the Binghamton region is access to Binghamton University, the staff, the professors, the faculty, all that other good thing. And we've got Stan Whittingham, right? So Stan Whittingham won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2019 for, basically bringing the lithium ion battery into existence. Stan is just a wonderful individual, and he does chair our board. So one of the things we focus in on would be battery and energy storage, of course, right? Why not when you have a Nobel laureate backing you? The other thing that we tend to get a high number of companies with is demand response software, because we've got a lot of New York State utility experience. I bring a lot of that experience to the table. As for staff, the way we augment staff is through Tim Hoffman's group. So why not use the EERs, right? The EIRs have unbelievable levels of domain knowledge. So we work very, very closely with Tim's group, and that enables us to do a lot of different things that maybe some incubators can't do. Next slide, please. So what do we really offer? And I like to look at us kind of like the wet teddy bear commercial, right? We do things a little bit differently in that we look at a company's development level, and then we determine what programs make sense for that company. And one of the things we're finding is companies do great on the technology side. They get that, right? The research, the science side. Where they tend to fall apart or they have great difficulty is either raising capital, understanding cash flow, really understanding what cash flow means. I always tell them, you run your business on cash flow, nothing else. You want a friend, get a dog, right? And so the thing that we try to help a lot of companies with is the whole concept around solution selling. And how does solution selling, you're a startup, you're trying to develop a product, but at the end of the day, you have to create demand for that product. So we focus a great deal of time in understanding, hey, how do we help bring your product to market? And then how do we create demand for that product? Not just through advertising, but more around building really powerful value propositions with the company so we can take that company to market. So with that, I'd love to entertain any questions. We'll talk about that in the chat room. But I'd love to introduce Aidan Livingston from Thermo AI. He was last year's 76 West $1 Million Award winner. So with that, Aidan, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Mike. And it is a great pleasure to be here today. I'm very excited to sing the praises of everybody at Kauffman, who truly have been more of collaborators than even just an incubator. I can't say enough good things. They really take every problem on like it is their own. They are quick to respond, and they do bring the depth of expertise and insight that we need to scale our solution to the next level. So I am the CEO of Thermo AI. As Mike said, we were very pleased to have won 76 West last year. We do combustion optimization, artificial intelligence. So combustion is a very delicate process, right? Everything from the weather outside, the state of the equipment, the state of the fuel, all change the exact chemical reaction. With our novel analytic pipeline, we are able to understand all the hidden inefficiencies in any combustion process and change settings so that those inefficiencies never occur. In effect, we are able to pay any industrial company to reduce their emissions through fuel savings. Go ahead and switch to the next slide. So our business model, like I was saying, is efficiency as a service. So that basically they have no upfront risk. There's no reason not to work with us. We don't make money unless we make them more money. And we see this as the real key for us being able to be in any industrial setting. And currently we're working on a pilot with Corning, and with the help of Kauffman, we're really looking forward to expand our footprint in the region and start piloting, because there really is no reason that our AI should not be installed at every industrial facility. Go ahead and switch. So we connected during 76 West, and we really were. We were blown away by their dedication and their expertise, specifically with the problems that we are facing, which is taking lab-proven solutions and scaling it to a worldwide solution. And that was what really drew us to their incubator, as well as the strategic help and the business model differentiation. I mean, frankly, just even on the selling, Mike and I have had so many conversations on how do we make this such a no-brainer for every company that they'd be foolish. I mean, they have a fiduciary obligation practically to say yes. And I think that is the real thing that we have seen a ton of value with them. And also just helping us navigate the NYSERDA contracting, finding talent in the region. I can't say enough good things about them. And I really see them being as crucial to our success and recommend them highly to everybody that we know in the energy space.
Great. Thank you very much, Aidan.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hand over to Sarah from the Tech Garden.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I am Sarah Kleehood, the director of the NYSERDA Cleantech Center Incubator, which is located in Syracuse, New York, part of the central region of the state. Slide. So here's a smattering, if you will, of our offerings. The Cleantech Center is located within the facility of the Tech Garden and provides both traditional co-work offerings as well as on-site EIRs, contracting, legal, and manufacturing support, to name a few services. Slide. We are both a residential and virtual cohort with rolling acceptance for companies. You're viewing right now the current cohort, and you'll notice we have a wide range of startups within the Cleantech Center. And we are finding a natural niche within the infrastructure and prop tech space and are looking to begin focusing on the space moving towards the future. Many of our companies are early stage and still within the prototyping, though over the last 18 months, there has been a significant amount of maturation and companies are starting to look into the market and commercialization space. Slide. Right. So here's the Cleantech Center business roadmap and the various resources and funding opportunities available to our cohort members from both our NYSERDA partners and the Tech Garden system, as well as the Cleantech Center individually. Slide. And here's this shameless self-promotion of our home, the Tech Garden. It will be growing. We're expanding by adding 2 additional levels upwards with the designs and the initial talks underway. Funding has been secured, so we're looking at this within the next 2 years of finalization. And slide. Slide. There. And in closing, should you like to connect, here's my information. And now we'll be moving to Michelle Knapp, CEO and founder of Cocoon Construct.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for asking us to attend and present. Cocoon Construct is a startup working on overcladding existing buildings to reduce their energy use and to improve the asset value for the owners. Slide. So we are doing, NYSERDA has a program called New York, Retrofit New York, and it's kind of a strange concept where you take an existing building and we overclad it with insulated panels. So super insulated panels take existing buildings that have been built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, where there was really no energy code, and that wasn't really a concern, and insulates them and updates the building, retrofits it from the exterior. So there's no tenant displacement. We increase the asset value for the owner, and we also reduce the operating expense and the maintenance on the building. Our business model right now is we are developing a software model platform that allows us to push projects to building owners. So we interrupt that replacement cycle. If a building owner is typically thinking ready for a siding or window replacement, we actually can get there knowing that they're going to be there and need that for their building. And we're also developing the actual retrofit panels. Part of what we're doing right now is our financial modeling for our pricing analysis. And I'll explain why. Next slide, please. Okay, this was, okay, different slide. So we have actually a model where we're developing for five different beneficiaries of what we're doing. So we have value that we're providing to building owners, tenants, building material developers or building material salespeople, GHG emission reductions, and we're looking at all of the various stakeholders in those places and how we value what we're doing for them. We've currently got 3 DOE grants to develop this, and that's from, we're working with Syracuse University, which is how we met and were introduced to the Tech Garden, is we became a partner with the Syracuse University Center of Excellence. We're partnered with them for the development of our panels, our exterior panels. The Tech Garden is focused on climate and the built environment, and it's one of the very few incubators that actually is and has access to Syracuse. There's a building envelope lab at Syracuse that we're actually in testing right now for our prototypes. And we've had a lot of help from ignition grants, EIRs, business model roadmap, and aligning with all the different programs that NYSERDA offers. And so we've also had, marketing support. So it's been a great relationship, and we look forward to continuing it. And that's our advice is, again, I think Rachel earlier said this, is find out whatever you need, anything that you think of. We don't know that the resource is there. Let everyone know what you need. Talk to the startups, talk to the incubator, talk to anybody you can, letting them know what you need. People are really willing to help and trying to get you the support.
Great, thank you, Michelle. And now for the last combination, let's go over to Peter Parks from Venture Creations, and let's try and keep your combination to 5 minutes so we have time left for breakouts. Thank you.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank the folks that organized this great event for us. You put a lot of work in this to make it look so easy. Really well done. Thanks. More than 40 of you are here today for one of 3 reasons. First, because you've got a really cool product that you'd like to bring to market, and you're looking for ways to do it better. Or second, you've got a great idea and are wondering, how do I turn this great idea into the next Shark Tank wonder? Or 3, you've been hearing a lot about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, and working for yourself sounds like the thing to do. So for whatever reason you're here, the question you should be asking yourself is not, should I be using an incubator, but which incubator should I be using? There are a lot of great choices, and we've heard a lot of great presentations today. Slide, please. So I'm here today to talk about Venture Creations, RIT's technical business incubator. It's an incubator that provides great support and, more importantly, incredible coaching. Think about all the people that you know or have heard of that rely on their coaches to help them bring out the best in them every day. Every great sports success, such as Tiger, Serena Williams, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, even Babe Ruth had a coach. And think of the great coaches you've heard of, some of the best: John Wooden, Vince Lombardi, Bear Bryant, and 100 business coaches. The reason that I bring this up to you is you've got one decision to make. The decision is which incubator to choose and which incubator is going to give you the best coaching for the kind of work you're trying to do. The likelihood of your success is exponentially better with a good coach. Venture Creations works with the early to mid-stage startups. We help you advance business plans to join the 42 successful companies that have graduated from our program. They've achieved their dreams. So I said before, slide please. I said before, Venture Creations and RIT are great at coaching. Many of you are here today because you've got a dream. I urge you to work hard to make that dream come true. Go for it, because if you don't, you will forever, ever regret it. So join us today, join RIT today. We will try to do our best every day to make your dream come true. We currently have 4 open spaces in the incubator. And now I would like to introduce Chris Showerman, President and founder of SELEC, one of our rock star incubator members. Chris, it's yours.
Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Showerman, President and CEO of Select Technologies. We're currently one of the member companies in RIT's Venture Creation, working on clean tech manufacturing. Slide. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about our journey and how we got here and why we chose RIT's Venture Creations. Like many of you, you have an idea for, say, a product or an application. And you're looking at kind of taking the next steps. So we found ourselves there after roughly 15 years of research and development on federal programs that resulted in 6 patents. So patents are one thing, but commercializing those patents are another. So we had a lot of help through programs like Nexus New York or the NSF Core program, where we're able to refine our business model. And after those programs, we selected the best route forward for us as a company, and working on commercializing the next generation of lithium-ion batteries with increased energy density on a weight and volume basis. And so with that, we joined Venture Creations, and we're working on our scale-up and development plan. Next slide. We had the advantage of knowing a little bit more about Venture Creations, given that we developed our technology at the university. And really what it did is the coaching and the mentors that they provide and the collaborative environment really reduced the risk for us. Being academic researchers and new to the business world, we were able to actually make that transition and leave with a lot more confidence, knowing that we had the support structure of Venture Creations behind us. And it's not only the coaches, but one of the biggest things is the collaborative environment that Venture Creations provides. The coaches and mentors have done an excellent job at providing collision zones, which help bring together different companies within Venture Creations to solve common problems and all move forward together. And so if your journey sounds a little bit like what we went through and what we're going through, please join us at the breakout section. And I look forward to learning more about you guys and telling you a little bit more about what we do and why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And now we're going to switch to the breakout rooms. If you tell me we're ready, Mary Elizabeth. I think I don't see the breakout rooms yet appearing on my menu, but just again to refresh everyone's memory, look for that 4 squares in your menu bar, and then choose the breakout you want to go to. Click join, and you'll be put through to that. And then we'll get a warning at the end. We're going to run this up to 2 minutes to the hour. Just have a very short wrap up at the end. So please enjoy the breakouts, and I'll see you there.